Let me introduce a new wave, we change the rules. A new app that you can use. Wanna change your life, then choose. Save money and invest. Pay bills when you decide. Safe and secure for you when you need a loan. Request it. One bank for you, one bank for me. So chill and enjoy the ride. Stop the current account on it. One bank.
One Bank by Sterling. Open a current account and start transacting.
Hi, my name is Walter Moyo. I'm from Zimbabwe. I'm a co-founder of an edutech startup called EduPlay that teaches ECD learners through game-based learning.
Heyo, my name is John Olwoch, aka Astronaut Nemo. I'm an illustrator and graduate mechatronics engineer from Kenya.
Hello, my name is Chenyu Asim. I'm a graduate in software engineering, Cameroon. I am an introvert. I'm curious, creative, and I'm ashamed to say I can sometimes be oblivious.
My name is Orina Dorothy. I am a game developer and extended reality developer.
Hello, I am Katrina Rawote. I am a chemical engineering graduate. I am an entrepreneur and I am enticed by the tech world.
Hi, my name is Lucretia Maswabela. I am from South Africa, city of Johannesburg, and I am a software engineer by profession and also game developer in the making.
Currently, I'm involved with the local university and the local NGO in cybersecurity, where we are teaching kids how to stay safe online and how to navigate the cyberspace.
I love 4 things: art, coding, engineering, and anything which combines all 3 together, which just so happens to be video games.
GameUp Africa presented itself as an opportunity I could not afford to miss, to improve on the skills I have in what I consider to be a deep passion of mine, gaming and game development in general.
I joined Malio Bootcamp in the hope of growing my C# skills and my game development skills, and I have done a lot of that. I am so excited and more than satisfied. We had mentors guiding us throughout the game development process, which has made our games progress more professionally and generally have a more professional outlook.
I joined GameUp Africa with the hope of game development, learning how to build and publish games that are African inspired.
The reason that I joined GameUp was I always had a huge interest in gaming, but it was always something that fell so far, or I didn't even know how to reach that,
I believe that game-based education in the e-learning space is going to take a central role, and acquiring the skills and knowledge in game development is crucial, especially for me who wants to innovate in the e-learning space.
I've always loved games and I've been interested in how they're made. The GameUp Africa Bootcamp provided me with a chance to learn about game development and test my skills while meeting with people from all over Africa who are just as interested in video games as I am.
Having a mentor was a great boon to our progress. The insights they gave us, the guidelines, and in particular the feedback they provide us is something I'll always take home. In the future, I plan to build games, to work in a good place with a good team, collaborators, and good support. It makes something to be proud to share among my friends and peers, something that I can be proud to say is in the market and it is successful.
And now that I am a better developer and a better programmer, better designer, I am well on my way to develop some of the best games that Africa has.
Having mentors on this bootcamp journey has been quite a thing of joy because of the hands-on opportunity to learn from them as they are well polished in what they do. And
Now, what I've enjoyed most about having mentors is the learning part of it. Having to learn from people who've been in the industry for years, who are in the biggest companies that someday I would love to work in, has been amazing. There's a difference between the learning phase and actually hearing how the industry goes, how the industry operates from the experts. It has been a learning curve.
So when I came across the call for applications for the 2022 GameUp Africa Bootcamp, for me this became an opportunity of a lifetime because it allowed me to improve my skills and to get access to resources and tools that I can use to build better games for my e-learning app.
I am currently switching track to becoming a software engineer, and I hope with the skills gained from the bootcamp and the connections that I made with the wonderful people there, that I'll be able to continue my dream of telling African stories.
I really appreciate what GameUp Africa is doing, the initiative they have taken to provide this opportunity every aspiring game developer out there, and I really deeply appreciate it. So allow me to express my gratitude and to say thank you for this opportunity.
I look forward to building and publishing my own African inspired games. Thank you so much.
And I would like to say thank you to Malia, thank you to Hugo, thank you to all the mentors that we had, and everybody who was part of this boot camp. I just hope in the future I get to work with you guys. Thank you so much.
I also want to train other people in the country And I want to be the leading voice in game development in my country and in the region.
Thank you to Malio for this opportunity, and I can't wait to see what the future holds. Bye.
Let me introduce a new wave, we change the rules. A new app that you can use. Wanna change your life, then choose. Save money and invest. Pay pay bills when you decide. Safe and secure for you when you need a loan. Request it. One bank for you, one bank for me. So chill and enjoy the ride. Stop the current account on it. One bank.
One Bank by Sterling. Open a current account and start transacting.
Hi, my name is Walter Moyo. I'm from Zimbabwe. I'm a co-founder of an edutech startup called EduPlay that teaches ECD learners through game-based learning.
Heyo, my name is John Olwoch, aka Astronaut Nemo. I'm an illustrator and graduate mechatronics engineer from Kenya.
Hello, my name is Chenyu Asu. I'm a graduate in software engineering, Cameroon. I am an introvert. I'm curious, creative, and I'm ashamed to say I can sometimes be oblivious.
My name is Orina Dorothy. I am a game developer and extended reality developer.
Hello, I am Katrina Rawote. I am a chemical engineering graduate. I am an entrepreneur and I am enticed by the tech world.
Hi, my name is Lucretia Maswabela. I am from South Africa, city of Johannesburg, and I am a software engineer by profession and also game developer in the making.
Currently, I'm involved with the local university and the local NGO in cybersecurity, where we are teaching kids how to stay safe online and how to navigate the cyberspace.
I love 4 things: art, coding, engineering, and anything which combines all 3 together, which just so happens to be video games.
GameUp Africa presented itself as an opportunity I could not afford to miss, to improve on the skills I have in what I consider to be a deep passion of mine, gaming and game development in general.
I joined Malio Bootcamp in the hope of growing my C# skills and my game development skills, and I have done a lot of that. I am so excited and more than satisfied. We had mentors guiding us throughout the game development process, which has made our games progress more professionally and generally have a more professional outlook.
I joined GameUp Africa with the hope of game development, learning how to build and publish games that are African inspired.
The reason that I joined GameUp was I always had a huge interest in gaming, but it was always something that fell so far, or I didn't even know how to reach that,
I believe that game-based education in the e-learning space is going to take a central role, and acquiring the skills and knowledge in game development is crucial, especially for me who wants to innovate in the e-learning space.
I've always loved games and I've been interested in how they're made. The GameUp Africa bootcamp provided me with a chance to learn about game development and test my skills while meeting with people from all over Africa who are just as interested in video games as I am.
Having a mentor was a great boon to our progress. The insights they gave us, the guidelines, and in particular the feedback they provide home. In the future, I plan to build games, to work in a good place, with a good team, collaborators, and good support. It makes something to be proud to share among my friends and peers, something that I can be proud to say is in the market, and it is successful.
And now that I am a better developer and a better programmer, better designer, I am well on my way to develop some of the best games that Africa has.
Having mentors on this bootcamp journey has been quite a thing of joy because of the hands-on opportunity to learn from them as they are well polished in what they do. And
now, what I've enjoyed most about having mentors is the learning part of it. Having to learn from people who've been in the industry for years, who are in the biggest companies that someday I would love to work in, has been amazing. There's a difference between the learning phase and actually hearing how the industry goes, how the industry operates from the experts. It has been a learning curve.
So when I came across the call for applications for the 2022 GameUp Africa bootcamp, for me this became an opportunity of a lifetime because it allowed me to improve my skills and to get access to resources and tools that I can use to build better games for my e-learning app.
I am currently switching track to becoming a software engineer, and I hope with the skills gained from the bootcamp and the connections that I made with the wonderful people there, that I'll be able to continue my dream of telling African stories.
I really appreciate what GameUp Africa is doing, the initiative they have taken to provide this opportunity to every aspiring game developer out there, and I really deeply appreciate it. So allow me to express my gratitude and to say thank you for this opportunity.
I look forward to building and publishing my own African inspired games. Thank you so much.
And I would like to say thank you to Malio, thank you to Hugo, thank you to all the mentors that we had, and everybody who was part of this boot camp. I just hope in the future I get to work with you guys. Thank you so much.
I also want to train other people in the country And I want to be the leading voice in game development in my country and in the region.
Thank you to Malio for this opportunity, and I can't wait to see what the future holds. Bye.
(2022) graduating class. So, GameUp Africa is a game development educational facility where people actually come in to learn game design and do not need to have prior knowledge in coming in. Of course, the motto says it all. Your game development journey starts here. This current class started in August of 2022. It's a 5-month program, and these guys have been through so many different stages of training to be able to take care of all their technical needs, to be able to go out there and not just be competent, but be able to publish titles that are very, very much engaging to end users in terms of game design for mobile games. The kind of tools and knowledge that they acquire also helps to transcend into other platforms of game development. So we're going to start with a message from one of our hosts for this current event. And this person is, of course, someone who is very dear to our heart and has done quite a lot to make sure that not just this event happens seamlessly, but even the program itself. It is none other than the ambassador to Nigeria from France, Ambassador Emmanuel Black. Let's please give her a big round of applause. You're welcome to the stage, ma'am.
Thank you so much. I'm very honored and pleased and delighted, thrilled actually, to welcome you all today for this at the Alliance Française Mike Adenuga Center. As we are hosting today this major event, the GameUp Africa. And the French Embassy is really, really pleased and happy to be part of this program and to support, the results of the boot camp that was organized again this year. A boot camp that provides, access to skills, resources, and tools needed to build high-quality games for Africa and for the world. And this, provides opportunities to connect with other game developers and industry professionals who will be sharing their knowledge. And that's fantastic. And actually, we cannot wait to see what you have built. I'm talking to the developers who are engaged in this boot camp. Building fun and engaging African-inspired games for cell phones while showcasing African culture through storytelling, character development, immersive environments, captivating sounds, and strong visuals is a challenge that, once again, the French Embassy in Nigeria is proud to support. This program that has been initiated by Malio Games, that we're proud to partner with, and his different partners, and allow me just to mention maybe the local ones I know. There are surely others, but Kucheza and Contender. And this program will really help, we believe, the local video game to unleash the talents on the continent and offer a diversity of content for the game industry. Game industry that we know, creates a lot of jobs, creates a lot of income, revenue, and that's also why we support it. So, as was said, we have been quite active this year with my team in terms of supporting, video games and esports. We have had a rich agenda. We signed an MOU with the governor from the state of Lagos in order to build together with French and Nigerian experts, a real ecosystem locally in order to both, structure the existing esport ecosystem, its institutional actors and its companies, but also to train and professionalize the Nigerian esports actors. And for the first time, a Nigerian delegation participated in the Paris Game Week. Actually, there was a whole pavilion for Nigeria. So, and I know that this participation was quite successful and was well noted by a lot of international professionals. So the idea is we all work together to build, talents that may not have been already, that are not maybe already possessed, but that are quite here. We're convinced by the opportunities that Nigerian youth in particular offer in this kind of sector. And we have a conviction also that we, by helping, the game sports and esports industry, games and esports industry, we're also, playing a role in bridging learning and skill gaps in Nigeria and playing also an educational role. So once again, I'm very pleased to be here. We're very pleased to welcome you. Congratulations to the awardees, that all those who have succeeded. I think there are 100 of them succeeded in this training, and looking forward to see what you have done as soon as possible and to try to play also. So thank you all. Well done. Congratulations. Thank you.
Thank you so very much for your... Please give her a round of applause as she leaves the stage. As she did mention, Republic Française has actually been very instrumental in pushing a whole lot of activities in developing esports in the ecosystem in Nigeria, even with the attendance of the event she mentioned with the Paris Games Week. And GameUp Africa itself is a small part of a bigger dream that has been on for quite a number of years, and then became something to be able to develop great minds within Nigeria starting last year. The first set of graduates came out last year from just 3 countries in Africa. And today, we actually have 9 countries participating in this particular session. Of course, this is expected to grow even further as the years goes on. And we expect to have a situation where Africa plays a very, very major role, and an integral role at that, in game design, game development across the world. Just yesterday, there was the Games Awards night that held, and we do hope, it is our dream, that at some point, games that are actually developed locally here in Nigeria actually not just get nominated, but actually win at one of those prestigious awards. So, thank you once again for gracing us with your time, your efforts, all through this time, madam. So, now we would like to just take a little time to get to know GameUp Africa a little bit better before we go into our next session with our next speaker. So, we also have people, by the way, who are participating from outside of this venue. This event right now is a hybrid event. So, of course, we have some of you here in attendance, but we have so many others also attending via our YouTube channel. I trust that you have shared that around to your friends and family so that they can join us as well. So right now, we're going to hear from the CEO for GameUp Africa. Mr. Hugo is going to join us on stage today, and he's going to give us a little bit from his own mind He is one of the founders of GameUp Africa. So we'll also be hearing a bit about his vision, his mission, what we're to look forward to with the time to come. So please join us on stage, sir, Mr. Hugo.
Hi. It's a real pleasure to be here today, and thank you very much for those of you who could join us in person, and for the rest of you who are joining us online. It's been a journey, and we're quite pleased with how far we've come. So it's actually quite incredible, the story of GameUp Africa and how that came about. I'd like to tell this story because I think it's important for us to kind of like understand where we're coming from and where we're going. So 10 years ago, I set up Malio Games to build African-inspired games for African audiences. During those early days, there were quite a few studios who were pretty much interested in exploring game development as a career and building the industry up, creating jobs and hopefully creating economic opportunities for loads of people. Myself included, during these early years, struggled with one recurring challenge, which was finding access to talent. The reason why this was a big issue was because most of the talents that came through in the industry were mostly self-taught, similar to the types of talent that we have today. But the difference between what we had then and what we have now is that we have a strong foundation for developing these talents through the GameUp Africa program. We designed the curriculum with the intention of giving people an entry into the industry to build the skills required to be able to succeed. Using or leveraging the experience that we've had over the period, we've created a great amount of opportunity for you. And we hope that you can leverage that to then go on to build your careers. It's been a journey which has been 5 months long. We all kicked off with the program back in August. And through the program, we went through multiple stages, including the technical assessment stage to evaluate those who had the basic skills required to be able to face the challenges ahead. You went through the learning phase, which was an opportunity for you to kind of like self-learn, not just individually, but with a cohort of others, supporting yourselves, and we will recognize some of your outstanding achievements later today. We were able to provide you with mentors who gave up their time to guide you as you develop these skills. And the mentors were very gracious, and we give them loads of thanks for giving us their time. And then lastly, we gave you an opportunity to build your first game and to get those games published on the App Store, which I think is outstanding to achieve within such a short space of time. When you look back to maybe when you came across the opportunity to join up GameUp Africa and you look to where you are now, it's incredible how far you've come and how much you've achieved within such a short space of time. But what is the future and what next for you? I think what next for you is to leverage on what you already have. You've demonstrated incredible competence, commitment, and creativity. Today is all about you, and we're here to celebrate your achievements. We want you to build on the foundations that you have to develop yourselves even further. There is no limit. This industry is as accessible to you as it is to anybody else. And we're here always to guide and support you as you hopefully start to build your careers within the games industry. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Obi Hugo, who is the founder for GameUp Africa and, of course, Malawi Games. So right now, we're going to go straight to our keynote address for the day. It's going to be a call-in session, so we're going to have a live feed on the screen. This is going to be delivered by none other than Mr. Ilka Pananen. He is the CEO for Supercell, the makers of some popular games that you all know, such as Clash of Clans. So Mr. Ilkka Penanen is going to be put on the screen, and we will have our keynote address from him.
Hi everyone, I hope you can hear me. I'm having maybe some problems with my my connection. Okay, just got the word you can hear me. Hey, so hi everyone, my name is Ilkka. I'm the founder and CEO of a gaming company called Supercell, and I'm here to congratulate you on the amazing achievement that all of you guys have done. You know, finalizing and graduating from the program, and I'm just super excited to welcome you all to the world of game development and excited about this milestone that you've achieved. First of all, I think it's I really want to say that what all of you guys have done and what you do, it really matters. And as a kind of fellow game developer and somebody who loves to build games and build gaming companies, I'm just so excited to have more talent and particularly from your part of the world in our industry. And I've the goal of Supercell has always been to kind of build games for the global audience, and we've been quite lucky. A bit more than 200 million people play our games every month. But one of the leading beliefs that we've always had is that for us to build games for the global audience, then also the games need to build teams that are as diverse and as global as possible. And for that reason, I think it's super important for our to get talent from everywhere, from every single country, from the world. I mean, if you want people from everywhere to play our games, so and that's why I'm so excited to have such a great bunch of people coming from your part of the world and graduating on this program. Also, I want to congratulate you on actually choosing a very exciting industry to work on. The one thing about games as an industry is that it's so great that you probably once you're gonna get a taste of it, you probably don't want to do anything else. That's certainly true about myself. And it took me actually when I graduated, classmates, they went to pursue careers in something else than games. The fashionable thing to do bit more than 20 years ago in my class was to become and go to banking or go to management consulting, and I was the odd one out who actually wanted to pursue games. And just because I for the love of games, and I had of course grown up playing games, and for many years when I would go to any kind of family events or extended family events, my relative me that, hey Ilkka, so what is it that you guys are, what is it that you are doing these days? And then I would tell them that, well, I have this like sort of a small games company, and what we're building games together, like, you know, with a bunch of great people, and then usually the response that came back was that, well, that all of that is great, but when are you gonna get the real job? I haven't like gotten that question in the last few years, but you know, that's how kind of games were perceived, and of course I hope that it's gonna be different for you guys. So, you know, games since those days has become this mass market thing, and lots of, you know, people in the world, like from all kind of backgrounds, play games. So it's a fantastic industry to be on, and you know, like, you know, well, I'm biased because I spent my entire career in games, but you know, people tell me that when they do get into games, you know, it's really, really hard to consider any other industry, and I would certainly agree. You know, what's so exciting about games is that you get to work with other like really great and smart people, and you can pursue very aggressive, very ambitious goals, and you know, it's just a, you know, very, very hard industry also to be in. You know, like you create something, and because the competition is so tough, the competition is global, you know, like with only very, very small number of games like actually succeed. But at least for me, it's sort of the thrill of that and the excitement and the fact that it's hard, which actually makes it a lot more fun and exciting. So for that reason, I believe that you guys have made a great choice when you decided to pursue games as your dream and your career. Also, I know, like from my own experience and watching people around me, that, you know, building games is hard, and you guys have just completed this kind of program. I'm sure, you know, you've had those moments and days where it has felt hard, and you guys have put like so much effort and hard work into it. But I think that's good, and it's very important, because that, I mean, although, you know, games are fun and you know they bring happiness to the world, but you know, also a fact is that when you're trying to like really push the boundaries of innovation, it's also hard, and it requires a lot of hard work, and it's not easy, and it's not meant to be easy. But I think the thing is that you have to like teach yourself like to kind of learn the struggle, so to speak. You know, learn to love the kind of hardships that come with that journey. And you know, like games is, you know, because it's so hard, and you know, like you have these days or weeks, I guess, where you know you feel like really, really happy and everything is going like exactly as a planned, and then you're gonna have these like days and maybe even weeks where it feels super hard, and you almost feel, oh, nothing that I'm trying like is actually like succeeding. And you know, we certainly, you know, we feel like that at Supercell every single day. You know, despite, you know, all the success that we've had, you know, we literally fail every single day on something, and you know, but you know, like over the time, I think we've learned to accept that it's part of a journey, it's a part of a path that we are in, and it's part of just being in games. It's kind of a roller coaster, and of course, it doesn't feel like exactly great to like fail or kill a new game that just doesn't like make it. But it's as I said, it's part of a journey, and you know, I guess all of those failures when make the wins and the successes like even more enjoyable, and you know, it's really the thrill of that kind of roller coaster ride that makes games like such an exciting and such an like great industry to be in. The other thing that I'd like to like maybe tell you guys is that, you know, one extremely critical thing when you're in the games industry is that, you know, you really need to have this improvement mindset. So like, no matter how great you are, like no matter like how many hit games you've built in your life, like you should always approach everything with a very humble and open mind, and you should have this mindset that, you know, I can be better, and my game can be better, and my team can be better, and always approach everything, you know, with that. And you know, if you make your goal to be that, you know, I'm gonna be better tomorrow, and then day after tomorrow I'm gonna be even better, and you make these like small incremental improvements like every single day, then eventually that leads to greatness. But without that type of mindset, you know, and especially in our industry, you're never gonna get there. And especially as you know, the competition is so tough and it's so global. There's so many smart people all around the world building games. But you know, even the past successes don't really matter. And you know, I know this from experience, like you know, being here at Supercell. But you know, we've of course been super lucky in a way that we've built like now 5 games in the last 12 years, which all of them have generated more than $1 billion of revenue, and some of them like way more. Our biggest franchise, Clash of Clans franchise, has generated more than 10 billion over its lifetime. You know, but despite all of those successes, you know, we still like try to be better like every single day, and you know, we depends how you look at it. The good news or the bad news is that you know, despite all of the successes that you had in the past, it doesn't make it any easier tomorrow. But again, you know, that's part of being in the games and part of the thrill and part of like what makes it like so exciting and fun to be the games. But really the point is that you know, every single day try to be better than yesterday, and always try to approach every single thing with an open mind and this attitude that I want to learn and I want to get better. That's probably like there's one takeaway that I'd like to you guys take home from this kind of a keynote, like it probably would be that. So it's just like learning never ever ends, and that's the most important thing that you can keep in mind. That's basically like what I wanted to tell you. Like and again, like I wanted to like extend my biggest and warmest congratulations to you, and you know, I like a very exciting journey in the world of games, and you know, please also try to like enjoy the journey and you know, every step of the journey, and you know, you're gonna face these ups and downs, and but keep in mind that's you know, that's part of being in the world of games, and you know, try to enjoy not just you know the possible like outcome or end result, but really like try to enjoy the journey and try to enjoy every single day. You know, try to get better every single day, and you know, remember also to have fun while doing it. So thanks very much, and I wonder if there was a plan to like have time for some questions from you guys. I'm very happy to take those if you do have questions.
Yeah, thank you very much, Ilkka. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Excellent. This is Hugo from Malio Games. It's a real pleasure to have you here. I'm a big fan of your company and some of the games that you guys have made. Are you still there?
Yes, I'm here.
All right, excellent. So I guess my first question is your view on where the industry is going, maybe like in the next 5 years from your vantage point. And this is more speaking to the opportunity for our young developers who are just about to kickstart their careers.
Well, I should start my response by saying that, you know, the one thing that I've learned in the games industry is that, you know, it's extremely hard to predict the future, if not impossible. You know, I get these invites to like all kinds of conferences and panel discussions where the topic is the future of games, and I most of the time, or actually every single time, decline them because I don't want to embarrass myself. It's, you know, these biggest outlier successes that, you know, happen in games, they all, or most of the time, if not every single time, they're very unexpected, and it's hard to sort of guess like what those might be. But having said that, like, you know, what I'm personally excited about, like when it comes to games, is that the one thing that I think we're still like scratching the surface on is the kind of social nature of games. So if you think about, like, you know, this device right here, the mobile phones, and the fact that basically like almost everybody carries one with them, and how easy devices and, you know, all that, you know, I do believe that there's like so much more room for innovation when it comes to like social mechanics of the games. You know, how people play together, how they play together in teams, maybe against other teams, and all forms of like different ways of interacting through the games, and and games even like giving context for what people talk about. And we certainly at Supercell are huge believers in this idea that at some point, these games, like the reason why people like play the games, it might not even be the game itself, it's the other people who play the same game together with you. So the social sort of becomes the glue that kind of keeps players together. So that's one thing that I would think about a lot. And then the other thing, which of course is super fashionable these days, but which I think it's extremely interesting, is how can we as an industry use artificial intelligence to both like to both like disrupt the way these games are built, but then also like how the games are consumed. And it feels like there's like this huge amount of opportunity that comes with this notion. So all of a sudden, if you think about say 3 to 5 years ahead, it might be, I mean, if AI can actually take tasks of humans in the game team. So what if the AI can do your art? What if it can even write your code? What if it can even participate in creating the game design? That totally changes the game of game development, sort of no pun intended. That's what it does. So all of a sudden, like, you actually don't need a like 100 people team, or not even a people team, to build a amazing game, maybe perhaps even with quite high fidelity. So that's something that's exciting. Also, like, what does AI mean for how people like sort of interact and consume the games? Like, for example, like could AI enable people to create content for the games through user-generated content? What type of games you can build that maybe adapt to the players' wants and needs on the fly based on the AI, etc. So I feel that there's like huge amount of opportunity and disruption coming our way from that field, and of course, there's been like these sort of like really interesting like things that have already happened on that, but this could be like the beginning of a completely new world when it also comes to games. So those two things I would mention, the social, and then like what does AI enable both for the creation and then also the consumption of games.
Thank you very much for those responses. I do have another question for you, and this speaks more to the stage that our graduates are. So looking back at when you started your career, you've been in the industry for quite a few years, and obviously now you run a highly successful studio. But if you could look back to those early formative years, what qualities would you say enabled you to kind of like persevere to the point where you then obviously started to kind of like achieve success?
Sorry, you were cut off a little bit. Could you maybe repeat the last part of the question?
Yeah, so I was speaking more to the early part of your career and the qualities, obviously more personal qualities that enabled you persevere at the early stage, obviously up until you started to achieve success.
It's an interesting question. It's always, of course, hard to like analyze yourself, but I guess like because it sort of relates to like what I spoke about, like because games is so like full of like ups and downs, and it's so like unpredictable as an industry. So you almost like never know like what exactly will work and doesn't, and that certainly has been true about our games. So being in games, it sounds funny, but maybe you shouldn't be that like outcome driven. Like you should be like input driven, meaning that you actually like you get most of the enjoyment from just doing great effort, and you enjoy the actual work, and then you accept that sometimes your great work leads to like exceptional outcomes, and sometimes it leads to nothing, and it will just fail. But then you like, of course, it's nobody likes to like fail. But at the same time, like you really should get your daily like satisfaction from the the day-to-day work, and you just enjoy, you know, building games and all that, and then and you kind of accept the fact that sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't, and maybe like, you know, there's also like some form of like resilience that has to be in you, and just like positivity. I mean, yeah, it's sort of funny when you're building games that you always have to believe that, you know, every single game that you work on like will succeed, even though you very well know that that's not gonna happen, but you just don't know like which games will succeed and which don't. So games can be maybe a tough industry for somebody like who has a hard time like tolerating failure.
No, thanks a lot. Thanks a lot for that response as well. And this is obviously something that we try to practice within our studio, and I think this is also something that a lot of studios within the continent are starting to understand. I do have one additional question for you, and this is more around, I guess, like ecosystem communities. I know within Finland, for instance, you guys have quite a few successful studios already, and the Nordic region in general, there are quite a few of them as well. What benefit would you say such ecosystems has in kind of like driving this growth? And I don't know, maybe just on the side, speak a little bit about competition within the industry and the existence or inexistence of this kind of competition.
Well, it's a good question. I think what has made like the Finnish like game development ecosystem so successful, it actually like it really boils down to this fact that we over here, like, we don't think of our companies as competitors. You know, we actually like, we honestly believe in this idea that, you know, that if the ecosystem as a whole gets better, that actually benefits every single member of that ecosystem. And therefore, like, if somebody is successful in our ecosystem, you know, everybody is happy for that somebody or for that company. And also, like, because we want everybody to be successful, we actually help each other out. You know, and you know, like 25 years ago, when this our in its beginnings, it of course was a very small ecosystem. But you know, like, we actually met like quite frequently together, and every single time, like when in those meetings, like we were trying to help each other out in all kinds of problems that we have, but we kind of thought ourselves like as a family almost, like, and you know, and now like 25 years later, like, of course the family is like much bigger, but I think that mentality is still there, like that you want to help others out. And you maybe to give you some very practical examples. For example, well, maybe I'll start with Supercell. You know, we founded the company like 12 and a half years ago. And you know, of course, the first thing when you found the company, you need to raise some money to get it started. And what really helped us at the time was that Rovio, the creators of Angry Birds, had been successful. So, and they actually helped us, and their reputation helped us to raise money. Because, you know, this amazing game like Angry Birds had come from Finland, so therefore, like, people also like believed also in Supercell. And then, you know, once we were lucky enough to become successful, like, we've been trying to like pay that forward. So, for example, like, you know, when Apple, like in the early days, like they and Google, like when they have come to Finland to meet with us, we invited like some other developers as well who were like doing games and kind of our competitors, but we like also invited them to be part of some of these meetings, just so that they could show their games to Apple and Google, and they could get some distribution and you know, visibility in the App Store as well. Just because we believe that, hey, you know, we've been lucky, we've been successful, and great if our people would be equally successful, and you know, like, the more great games we have from Finland, you know, the more great game developers will want to move here. It certainly has been true, by the way. I mean, Helsinki as a city has become this like central hub, I feel, especially for mobile games development, and it's just become this like hub and talent magnet that attracts the best people from all around the world. In Supercell, have people from close to, I think, from 50 countries right now here in Helsinki, and way more than half of our recruitment when it comes to game development comes from abroad and all that. But it really like, and it all really comes down to this mentality of everybody tries to like do their share in helping the ecosystem, and obviously that wouldn't happen unless you would have this belief that ultimately the success of the ecosystem benefits everybody.
No, that's a great viewpoint. I know we have a few more minutes before you go, and I was quite keen to kind of like ask you about, you know, Africa as a market. And I know you might not have any specific perspective, but just if you can just share some thoughts around what advice do you have for Africa as a market for games, either for the developers within the continent, mostly for the developers within the continent, and obviously our young graduates. You know, like, do you have any perspectives, any advice that you can give to us as a continent and as a market?
Well, I guess my number one advice would be that, you know, don't try to be like anybody else than who you are, and you know, try to focus on your strengths. And like, you know, this is like just an outsider's point of view, but I mean, but you guys have a unique advantage that you can like sort of bring something fresh and something unique and something innovative to the market, and you probably like think differently than, for example, we would here in Supercell. So, you know, really double down on that. You know, don't try to build the next Supercell or the next Epic or next EA. Build the next yourself, and really like, you know, double down on like what makes you unique, and maybe rather than like looking at the market and what's working right now and trying to build a better version of that, you know, try to like imagine something that doesn't exist yet, because it's such a crowded market, and it is very hard to stand out anyway, and you certainly are not stand out by, you know, trying to build a better version of something that already exists. So really, like, I would like be very bold and brave, and try to build something that is very, very different to what exists today. And you know, like, and really like be true to yourself and to your own passions, and yourself. Don't try to be anyone else.
No, thank you very much. Great advice as well. Really appreciate you taking the time to join us today. It's a real honor for me personally, but I'm sure for all of our audiences, both in person and virtually, it's a great pleasure. There's been a lot of chats on the YouTube channel. We couldn't take all of the questions, but we did try to take as much as we could. I hope, Ilkka, that one day soon we can get you to come visit, and hopefully the next time we have you around, it wouldn't be virtual, you would actually be here in person.
It would be a big honor. It's a big honor, actually, like for me to participate. Thank you very much for inviting me, and again, congratulations to everybody, and you know, hugely inspiring for me as a fellow member of the game. So thank you very much. Best of luck for all of you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you very much to Mr. Ilkka Pananen. And of course to Mr. Hugo Obi, who talked through that keynote address with him. So next we're going to have our session with the free chat. But before we get into that, while we pull everybody in on that session and bring up our panelists as well, I just want to let us in on some of the activities to expect to happen over time. So after the free notes chat, or rather the free chat that we're going to have next, we're going to have a game show, showcase rather, for some of the games that have been developed over time during this 2022 session. So that way we can actually see what it is that these guys worked on and know the level of competence that is coming out of the academy. Now, also, there's going to be some awards going out as well for some of the exceptional performers within this session as well. We have a lot of people represented here all over the continent. From all the 9 participating countries, in fact, we have nominees. which is awesome because it means everybody put in their best, and one way or another, you were actually represented in one of these categories. As I mentioned earlier, there were just 3 countries that participated in the inaugural session, which was in 2021. That was Ghana, Nigeria, and Kenya. And for this year, there are actually 9 participating countries, which now include Cameroon, Ethiopia, Rwanda, Uganda, and of course, Zimbabwe and South Africa. So it's really an honor to have such a diverse group under the same umbrella, learning towards one goal, to solve a problem that was identified by a very fantastic team indeed. So right now, we're going to, first of all, see if anybody within the audience has any comments so far that they would like to add to their time, just to give a brief note on their time at the academy. We can take 1 or 2 comments since we have a little bit of time to do so. So if you want to make a comment, just raise your hand and I will come to you myself. It seems we're all shy, right? This is not a shy gathering. We're developers, we solve problems. So it means I'm going to have to solve this problem by breaking into your personal spaces. Not exactly, that sounded violent. But I will be invading your space a little bit just to get a little take. If you are just attending as a visitor, you let us know as well how you got to find out about GameUp Africa, the academy itself, what it's doing, and what you think about what's going on. If you are actually one of the graduates, then please give us just a short brief on your time. So I'm walking towards you. I'm not the boogeyman or anything. Good afternoon, sir. Could you tell us your name and give us just a few words?
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Farouk Abdul Ganiu, and I'm a graduate in this program. Okay. And I'm a graduate in this program. It has been an incredible journey so far, and I want to thank the team, the Malio team, for this opportunity. Some 5 months ago, we began the program, and just like Mr. Hugo said, we went through some hurdles before we got accepted into the program. We did some tests like that, which we had to pass before we are allowed into the program. Then after that came some tutorials, practical ones, where to build projects and other things like that. It was a very great experience, and it involved countless hours of videos, building different projects with different level of difficulties. It was a great experience. Then one of the great things about the program was meeting other people from different countries, developers, talented developers, and mingling with them and everything. And also I was the game lead, the team lead for Team 8 in one of because the program was divided into different groups with a different number of members. So I was one of the lead in one of them, and it was a great experience to lead while learning and to also learn while leading. So thank you.
Thank you very much. A round of applause to one of our graduates who is with us here today sharing his experience. It's good to see that we don't just have graduates, but we also have leaders. The training seems to have been very, very comprehensive. And now I come on to one of the ladies in the house who will be telling us a little bit about what they know about the event and their experience so far.
Hi, everyone. Okay, my name is Abiola. I actually came here as a visitor, and I came here as a... Okay. So my name is Abiola. I came here as a visitor. I got to know about the event via Eventbrite. So I thought, okay, let me just come and get to know more about the program.
Excellent. So we have a visitor who has heard about the wonderful things happening, correct? And she wants to see if everything she has heard is all true. So I take a step across one of the lanes. The people there are currently happy, but I will be back. Good afternoon, ma'am. Good afternoon, ma'am. So the other time I spoke to the first lady I went to, so this time I will go to the second lady I went to. Could you please tell us your name, if you don't mind getting up? Just tell us your name, how you heard about the program, if you are part of the program, your experience so far.
All right, my name is Odion, but I got here late. So I got to hear about the event from Eventbrite, so that's why I'm here.
Excellent. So it seems that word is spreading far and wide, and everybody wants to know exactly what's happening. So it also seems like next year's set of graduates are going to be even more, with even more diversity. So we take the young gentleman sitting here. Good afternoon, how are you doing?
Good afternoon, sir. My name is Ayabami Luashe. I'm Nigerian. I'm from Oyo State, Ibadan. I get to know about GameUp Africa on opportunities for Africans and channels, and my brother told me about it. Though I didn't know anything about game before, but I have interest in it. But when they said that we are going to do some tests, I'm scared. Of course, I don't know me that I'm only studying HTML, CSS, C#. This one is a higher level language, but I have courage that everything is possible with God. All things are possible, and I enrolled, and unfortunately I passed, and we started the courses and then courses 1 to 9. That's starting from 6, 7, 8, 9. It's very tough, but with the help of God and the Discord group and technical assistance, we are able to skip through. But the system requirement for the GameUp Africa, my system is not up to the requirement. But I managed, and God helped me, and I'm so happy to be one of the graduates today.
I love you all. I didn't have to tell you to give him a big round of applause. This man seems to have surmounted so many mountains to be able to get this done. And as you could hear from him, it's not easy. There are a lot of challenges in the environment that we find ourselves in. It's also one of the things that the founder, Mr. Hugo Obi, had identified prior, that they are also trying to look into different ways to be able to help as much people as possible to be able to get into the program, be it power issues, system issues, and things like that, so that this becomes accessible to many more people. So I'll just take one more comment from you, madam. If you could just stand up briefly. So just your name, why you're here, how you heard about the program, and your experience so far.
Okay, I'm Mrs. Ayobami Temitokwe. I heard about the program from my brother-in-law. He has been on it, sleepless nights, going through and flow. But coming here today is really an experience, meeting new people, and thank you to the co-founder, Mario Game. It's a great job. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your kind words, ma'am. So as we can see, the entire initiative seems to be meeting the goals of those who have started this program. However, you know how it is with those who push boundaries, it is never enough. Because we all know that all those involved, including our very good ambassador here, they have so much that they have in store for us, planned through the course of next year and many more years to come. So many things that are going to be happening. Google, of course, was part of this program even last year as well. So there's a whole lot coming from so many different partnerships in order to make so many great things happen. So we're going to be quiet for just about 2 minutes. Then we'll come back to you and carry on the program with our Fireside chat. In that chat, we're going to be talking to learners and mentors alike. So you don't want to get up from your seat. It's just going to be a very brief break. Thank you very much.
Hi, my name is Walter Moyo. I'm from Zimbabwe. I'm a co-founder of an edutech startup called EduPlay that teaches ECD learners through game-based learning.
Heyo, my name is John Olwoch, aka Astronaut Nemo. I'm an illustrator and graduate mechatronics engineer from Kenya.
Hello, my name is Chenyu Asim. I'm a graduate in software engineering, Cameroon. I am an introvert. I'm curious, creative, and I'm ashamed to say I can sometimes be oblivious.
My name is Orina Dorothy. I am a game developer and extended reality developer.
Hello, I am Katrina Rawate. I am a chemical engineering graduate. I am an entrepreneur and I am enticed by the tech world.
Hi, my name is Lucretia Maswabela. I am from South Africa, city of Johannesburg, and I am a software engineer by profession and also game developer in the making.
Currently, I'm involved with the local university and the local NGO in cybersecurity, where we are teaching kids how to stay safe online and how to navigate the cyberspace.
I love 4 things: art, coding, engineering, and anything which combines all 3 together, which just so happens to be video games.
GameUp Africa presented itself as an opportunity I could not afford to miss, to improve on the skills I have in what I consider to be a deep passion of mine, gaming and game development in general.
I joined Malio Bootcamp in the hope of growing my C# skills and my game development skills, and I have done a lot of that. I am so excited and more than satisfied. We had mentors guiding us throughout the game development process, which has made our games progress more professionally and generally have a more professional outlook.
I joined GameUp Africa with the hope of game development, learning how to build and publish games that are African inspired.
The reason that I joined GameUp was I always had a huge interest in gaming, but it was always something that fell so far, or I didn't even know how to reach that,
I believe that game-based education in the e-learning space is going to take a central role, and acquiring the skills and knowledge in game development is crucial, especially for me who wants to innovate in the e-learning space.
I've always loved games and I've been interested in how they're made. The GameUp Africa bootcamp provided me with a chance to learn about game development and test my skills while meeting with people from all over Africa who are just as interested in video games as I am.
Having a mentor was a great boon to our progress. The insights they gave us, the guidelines, and in particular the feedback they provide us is something I'll always take home. In the future, I plan to build games, to work in a good place, with a good team, collaborators, and good support. It makes something to be proud to share among my friends and peers, something that I can be proud to say is in the market, and it is successful.
And now that I am a better developer and a better programmer, better designer, I am well on my way to develop some of the best games that Africa has.
Having mentors on this bootcamp journey has been quite a thing of joy because of the hands-on opportunity to learn from them as they are well polished in what they do. And
now, what I've enjoyed most about having mentors is the learning part of it. Having to learn from people who've been in the industry for years, who are in the biggest companies that someday I would love to work in, has been amazing. There's a difference between the learning phase and actually hearing how the industry goes, how the industry operates from the experts. It has been a learning curve.
So when I came across the call for applications for the 2022 GameUp Africa bootcamp, for me this became an opportunity of a lifetime because it allowed me to improve my skills and to get access to resources and tools that I can use to build better games for my e-learning app.
I am currently switching track to becoming a software engineer, and I hope with the skills gained from the bootcamp and the connections that I made with the wonderful people there, that I'll be able to continue my dream of telling African stories.
I really appreciate what GameUp Africa is doing, the initiative they have taken to provide this opportunity to every aspiring game developer out there, and I really deeply appreciate it. So allow me to express my gratitude and to say thank you for this opportunity.
I look forward to building and publishing my own African inspired games. Thank you so much.
And I would like to say thank you to Malia, thank you to Hugo, thank you to all the mentors that we had, and everybody who was part of this boot camp. I just hope in the future I get to work with you guys. Thank you so much.
I also want to train other people in the country, and I want to be the leading voice in game development in my country and in the region.
Thank you. to Malio for this opportunity, and I can't wait to see what the future holds. Bye.
Always awesome to hear from people who have benefited from the program and who continue to be part of the DNA of GameUp Africa. So we're going to go into the Fireside chat very shortly. As I said earlier, this is going to be a session that will have both learners and mentors in attendance. So this is going to come up on your screen. We would have some live feeds there. We may have one or two panelists within there. We'll see how that goes. But when that does come up, I'd like you to take notes of the conversations so that if we do have questions later that we may want to put out either to our hosts themselves or to one of those you can see how to make that happen. So now we have our guests on the screen. You are all very, very welcome to the 2022 GameUp Africa graduation event. I hope you can all hear me clearly. If you can, you could just signify by raising your hands so you don't all speak at the same time. Awesome stuff. I see a thumbs up. I see a wave of hands. I see a big smile. Actually, three big smiles and one man in white that is looking excessively serious right now. So that's how you know that you're dealing with people who didn't come here to play. They came with a mission, and they would like to get straight to it. So I think we should throw it to one of our people to talk now. First of all, before you start, please, may I have Mr. Hugo be briefly on stage? We have a little bit of time, so we can have the big man just say a quick hello to you all before we get this going.
Oh, hi. Hey, guys. Why were you moving away from the split screen? Let's go back to the split screen. I wanted to see their faces. Hey, Dennis. Hi, Chris.
Hey.
Hi, Michael. Hi, Dorothy. Hi, Joanna.
Hello, Hugo. Hi.
Yeah, real pleasure to have you guys here. Not sure why I'm on stage, but I guess I'm looking forward to... Dennis is running the show anyway. But great to be here, and great to have you guys here.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
A herdsman is always proud of his flock.
If I would just...
And always, it's always good to hear from the person leading the charge to let you know how well you're doing. It's a major form of inspiration, and I know you've all been inspired over time. So can we start from the top left, please? Sorry, your name is not on the screen, so I hope we're looking at the same screen so you know it's you I'm talking to. That's a lady in red sweater.
Yeah, I can hear you. I hope you can also hear me.
Yes, we can. Please go on.
Okay. So, hi, my name is Joanna Olwoch. I'm from Kenya. I'm a graduate mechatronics engineer and currently a software engineering student here in Kenya. I really enjoyed the GameUp Africa bootcamp because I've always loved games, but I've never quite had the opportunity to actually learn more about them. So this offered me such a great opportunity to experience game development and to also meet so many different people from all over Africa, which I really personally enjoyed. Yeah.
Thank you for that. Dennis, could you introduce yourself? And then afterwards, maybe you just take over from here and introduce everybody else. So I guess before that, maybe I should. I didn't introduce myself earlier, did I? Everybody's wondering how it is that this dashing young man, we don't know his name. So my name is Tosin Odolami. I'm your MC for today. It's good to be here among such talented people. So enough about me, I'm irrelevant. Dennis, please take it away. Introduce yourself. Then, of course, Dennis, by the way, is going to be moderating this session, not me. I just wanted the introduction. So you might as well do the introductions and then take it away. Thank you, Dennis.
All right. Awesome. Thank you so much, Tosin. Welcome everyone to the Fireside Chat. And let me just take this moment to thank everyone for attending this session. My name is Dennis Wawero. I'm joining you live from Nairobi, Kenya, as is one or two other people who are part of this panel. I've been working as community manager at Malio Games and at GameUp Africa, so I'm very much familiar with most, if not all, faces that are on this panel. I'm sure most of you who are joining live from Lagos are familiar with this voice. We've been running a number of events that I've been moderating as well. And I'm just glad and so glad to have some of the panel members that we will be speaking to, some of whom have been part of the 2022 bootcamp. One more who is much more familiar was been part of the 2021 bootcamp, but let me not take any more time. Let me give them a chance to introduce themselves. I'm sure Dorothy has, Joanna has introduced herself. So Chris Jr., over to you.
Hello, everyone. I hope you can hear me.
Chris,
Dennis,
if
can
you
you
have your
confirm if you
mic
can hear
muted,
me?
we can hear you.
I'm speaking. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Please go on.
Go on.
Can you hear
Go on,
me?
Chris.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. So I'm
wow.
Christopher Adomaku Jr. I'm a game developer at Malio Games, and most importantly, I'm also a graduate from the 2021 GameUp Africa Bootcamp, and it's been an amazing journey, and I hope I can share as much of it as possible during this chat, and looking forward to it.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Chris. I think I'll go next to my screen, whoever I can see next. I'm guessing it's Michael Tomiloba. Michael, over to you.
Okay, hi everyone. Good afternoon. My name is Michael Tumlaba. I am a computer engineering student. I live in Lagos. I got to know about the Malio GameUp Africa Bootcamp through a friend who knows I've been trying my hands around Unity for game development for about a year, but haven't made much progress. So it was a great opportunity for me to learn and to develop. And I'm super excited to have been eventually letting and to have been able to work alongside great minds and amazing people from all over Africa and working with the mentors, which have been of great help along the journey, and the privilege to also lead in one of the clans, Clan 5. It was a really challenging journey, yet very, very exciting one. Thank you. I hope everyone could hear me. Am I audible? I can't tell if I'm audible.
Yes, yes, you are audible enough. Dorothy, can you hear us?
Yes, yes, I can hear you. Do I need to reintroduce myself? Okay.
No, you're all good. You're all good. You're all good, Michael. Thank you. I think we'll just go on
Oh, okay, thank
to
you.
the panel questions. I think we'll just go on to the panel questions. If Dorothy can't hear us, let me just go over to Joanna. Joanna, if you can hear me, I understand that you, other than just game development, I understand that you dabble in some sort of visual art or digital art, which I've been able to see some of the portfolios, which are really, really cool. Being part of the bootcamp and just learning about game development, how do you think, what skills have you been able to gain that sort of enhanced digital art? And from the digital art perspective, what skills have you had that have helped you go on in this journey of the Malio and GameUp Africa bootcamp?
So yes, I do digital and traditional art. I'm more of a traditional artist though, but I still enjoy digital art. So getting into game development from doing just art it was an interesting experience because I already have experience coding, but like I have a more like I would say right. I'm not sure if it's right brained or left brained type of brain. So I had to like learn how to explain to myself the code in such a way that I can understand it. Often sketching it out inside my book and being like, okay, so this goes here and that's why this is like that. So but it was still fun either way. The skills from art that I actually did manage to transfer into the game bootcamp was when we had the game jam, and I partnered up with somebody from Zimbabwe called Walter, and we divided the tasks up, and I ended up doing the UI and the art design. So I had never done UI design before, so it was a learning experience because like I knew how to create the assets, but I didn't know how to actually put them in the game, and then all sorts of learning about resizing them and watching videos late into the night to figure it out. So for me personally, just coming in with just like my art skills, I've learned a lot about coding and a lot about UI UX design, and I still want to actually go further and see what more I can do by like merging more of my art skills into the video game world, because it's not just UI UX design. There's also like now I can create 2D assets that can be used for like a video game, different types of video games. So that's all from me.
Awesome. It's really, really cool to see someone who just started in digital art and just was interested in game development, and cannot wait to see the career path that you choose, that is in terms of integrating digital arts and also game development as well. I think I'll go to mention from to Michael. Michael, was introducing yourself, you spoke about the event that you had, how good, how insightful and how fun the experience in terms of the bootcamp. Being a little bit difficult, of course. The fun part came during the mentorship phase. So, Michael, how best would you describe your experience during the mentorship phase, just getting into it with people from some of the biggest companies in the world?
I didn't quite catch the question, but I believe you're trying to ask how best I would describe my experience. I believe.
Michael, we can't. I'm not sure whether it's my end. We cannot clearly hear you. You can go on. Just repeat your answer if you can.
Okay, I didn't quite catch the question. Can everyone hear me?
Yeah, we were just asking Michael. Yeah, we can hear you now. We can hear you now, Michael.
Okay, great, great. Okay, I didn't come to question, but if you're asking about how I could describe my experience so far, I would say if it's more about the coding aspect of it and working in collaboration with other creative minds. So far, I've been able to use the collaborative tools quite effectively. And I'll say I've come to know the massive impact of the UI UX in terms of the 2D sprites and designs and how it makes the game quite appealing. And now I later got to understand that one of the reasons why I love to play games is because of the virtuals and how they look. And I've been able to make a couple of improvements on that. So it's actually been a very exciting time so far. Thank you.
Awesome. Awesome. If I would go just to another question from Chris Jr., who is I would describe as an experienced head when it comes to the bootcamp since it was part of the 2021. Chris Jr., if you can hear me, you are in a similar position as the graduates this time last year. Can you look back to the moment and tell us just your feelings at the time and how the graduates this time can relate probably to you?
Yeah. So yes, obviously it was not easy because I can share in their experience. I mean the kind of feelings they're having now because I remember the second phase when we moved into phase two. It was quite difficult because it's not only about your coding skills, it's also about how well you work together as a team, right? And it's I mean challenges will definitely come up, and that's for me was the most difficult aspect of let's say coming out of this boot camp because first of all we are from different parts of the world, and it has to do with communication, how effectively you can communicate. We are all working on different time zones and also different schedules as well, because it's very difficult to work with people when especially you cannot even find the right balance to kind of like effectively communicate. And that was the major challenge with regards to the boot camp. But at the end of it all, right, if you're able to come out of it, right, it gives you that sense of let's say accomplishment, in the sense that it's not just about your practical skills you've acquired now, right? You've now gained some kind of like industry ready skills that would allow you to let's say fit in seamlessly into any company out there, right? And the bootcamp will give you that kind of experience needed, because you now be working on real world projects, right? And when you are put in that situation to kind of like work on a real world project, the training you went through the bootcamp, that is the self-paced learning, all right, that self-taught let's say approach to the bootcamp allows you to let's say attack, or let's say approach these different problems you face strategically, in the sense that I mean, you've basically got that experience to be able to stand on your own, right? To kind of like find your way around problems, because you meet a lot of problems from the first stage of the bootcamp into your, and when you finally decide to pitch an idea first of all, and to even begin the development process, that's from your GDD to your MVP, right? And it's kind of like it's a rounded training, right? And believe me, the best I can say is at the end of the day, right, if you find yourself in any company or any industry related to gaming, right, you realize that the skills you kind of like you developed or attained from the bootcamp were really second to none, right? Because they would allow you to fit in seamlessly. So yeah, basically it's been wonderful since then, and all I can say is a big thank you to the bootcamp like GameUp Africa. Each time I'm able to overcome a new challenge. Yeah.
Awesome. It's great to hear that. Just a follow up to that. After you graduated, personally, I know you've been involved in the in the game industry since. So what have you really been up to? You just speak to our audience what you've been up to, who you've been working for, and what has been your impression in the games industry for, I would say, over a year right now.
All right. So yeah, after the graduation, there was an opportunity to kind of like apply for internship at Malio, which I did, and then fortunately I passed the technical assignments, the technical tests that were required, like basically to gain an internship at the studio, and so through that I went through like an interview process. I had the opportunity, I think that was literally the first time I had a conversation with Hugo, like personally, right? I mean, before it was kind of like Hugo speaking to all the participants. So the interview was actually the first time I had a direct conversation with Hugo, and I mean, it's first of all, it's all about if you kind of like have a mentality, maybe you meet somebody and like it's basically like the kind of the goals the company shares is something you want to be a part of. So first of all, that's what I wanted to like put out there, right? That's because that's a key factor. I mean, in in what I'm about to put out, like basically the mere fact that like you share the same goals with the company, and I mean the goal is to put Africa out there on the world stage, right? And that's a key factor, right? So basically we went through a training process, right, for about 2 to 3 months, and and after the training process, and basically the first project I was tasked with was basically working on the revamp or reboot of What King, right? And that was quite challenging because I mean a fresh let's say game developer, and put that massive task is put on your head. I mean, I was working with a team, a very able team as well, and we were all newbies because I mean, I was not the only graduate who was hired by the company. I have other colleagues as well, right? And we were put out to work on the What King revamp, and that's till date is one of my greatest challenge. I mean, it's from February to the end of the year, so it's basically roughly like 9 to 10 months working with Malio now, and the revamp of What King was one of the most challenging because I mean, as we all know, What King was a game that already existed, and we had to kind of like refine the processes. Not just UI, but for the technical aspects, that's the code and the code architecture, right? And it had to do with refining them. And basically, you're learning by kind of like seeing the stuff like firsthand. So it was kind of like a firsthand approach, right? So the task is there, like solve the problem, right? And like I said earlier, you can't like survive in such a situation if you don't have that training from the GameUp Africa bootcamp, because it allows you to kind of like have that confidence to approach those challenges like easily. Because I mean, it's not going to be, let's say, that easy, but I mean, you have a greater chance of success because I mean you are ready for it. That is what you were trained to do, right? And so from What King, basically Malio introduced the rapid prototyping model, where basically two devs, we are put into groups of two devs, where you have 4 weeks to come up with a prototype, right? And so that was my second project working with Aliu, and we worked on a project that was chicken picking, right? So chicken picking, that's the core mechanic, and the basic, like let's say the prototype was all created within 4 weeks, and we were two devs who were working on it, so my colleague and I, and basically it was challenging because I mean, this was let's say the first major project you'll be working on, and the target is to push this product to the market, right? So we had about 4 weeks to build chicken picking, and after 4 weeks we went through a process of another 3 weeks to kind of like polish it and refine it in terms of UI, animations, and visual effects and all that, to make it ready for the market. So I think in the second month thereabouts, Chicky Picking was released to the market, right? So that was basically the first game from the Malio RP model, and and secondly, we went on to work on to a second RP, and we worked on a couple of games, and hopefully we can share those games in the near future. And I think that about sums everything up.
Awesome, awesome. Dorothy, first of all, let me just, if there are any technical issues, probably from the arena or from those watching us online, I hope you can just hear us. We are facing some technical issues, which happens if you're
I can hear you clearly.
people who are online from pretty much across the continent. Awesome, Dorothy. Thank you. Dorothy, I know you work in some really cool stuff. So in terms of developing products that integrate augmented reality. So working with that and just working with a team here in terms of game development, how has that been able to help you grow both sides, whether it's the game development or the development part of the augmented reality?
Okay, thank you for that, Dennis. I think for me, this program has been very intense. I had the privilege of being a clan lead, so I've been working together with a team in the first phase and in the second phase. And in both, I've been able to learn a lot from my peers. I've been able to make really good friends. And I have been pursuing augmented reality for a long time. And since I have been doing this in the Unity environment for my development, I think this game development learning has also really added a lot of knowledge onto my existing knowledge because the environment is the same, the coding is the same. So I have gotten better in terms of my C# coding. I've gotten better in terms of adding textures, creating the environment, knowing how to launch. So within the program, I have focused majorly on game development, and I think a lot of things are similar, only that with augmented reality, you get to launch it in a different way, and you have to add different plugins like AR Core, AR Foundation, and AR Kit if you're using iOS. But pretty much the usage of Unity is the same. So I think with this bootcamp and with the much knowledge that we have learned, because I think in the first learning phase, we had to create 9 games in 9 weeks, so a game per week, and that was pretty intense. I used to have weekly meetups with my clan. We highlight the things that we have learned each week. And at the end of the learning phase, we had learned quite a lot. And so we got to apply that even in the last game that we built during the mentorship phase. And I think that was a very proper structure, because now during the mentorship phase, we tried to get as much information as we could from our mentors about how to go into the market, what are some of the things you consider while building a product, be it game, be it AR, and with the discussions that we were having with the other clan members, aside from what we were building, we also got to discuss about things that we would like to do, and I think that has really helped. There's a lot of knowledge that I have added onto what I do, and it would lead me to create AR applications in a much better way, since I now know more than what I did before I started the bootcamp.
All right, thank you so much.
Awesome. It's really cool to hear
Dennis, it's been awesome listening to the entire team give us some very good feedback from their experiences. I think listening to Christopher has also given a whole lot of insight as to what happens next, even after you graduate. So thank you so very much for the input you've given us. Before we end this session, though, we just wanted to involve some members of the audience in the panel as well, so that we can also hear from some of the graduates to answer some of the questions that were asked earlier. So I'm going to be walking on to some of the graduates that we've identified in the audience, just to give us some insights as to, one, we've talked about what our experiences were like before, but what we would like to hear now is, what would you say your plans for the future are? What do you see yourself being able to do with what it is that you have learned? The knowledge that you have now, how does it tie into the passion you have for game development? And what do you hope to be able to see in terms of support in the infrastructure being built within the ecosystem in Nigeria? So I'm going to start with our young man here. You will please introduce yourself first, and then just give us a few words. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. We are a bit cold here. My name is Chisom. Can you hear me? Okay. So I said hello, everyone. Can you guys hear me? Okay, good. So I'm Chisom Dilibe Okore. I'm a medical student of the University of Nigeria in Nsukka. So I came all the way from Enugu for this event. So thank you. Thank you. So Malio has really been helpful. I can remember starting up this program because during the strike, I was just with my books and I needed to venture into tech, so I had access to this event. So during the period of the strike, I ventured into it, and it's been nothing short of being amazing. The foundation laid by Malio, I think I would work on it and see how I can involve the health aspect of Nigeria into it. Currently, there are other people doing it outside. On the Play Store, there's an app called AWX. It's an app that's sort of a virtual reality. So it helps upcoming doctors practice airway endoscopy techniques. So I don't know, most of us, if we've been to the hospital and you get to have a pathology within your throat or your gut or something, and they get to put an instrument into your gut to have a view into it. So that app will just help you, like upcoming doctors, learn the techniques that are behind all of that. And before you can have access to such equipment, you already have prior knowledge on how to use stuff like that. So I believe with this foundation that Malio has laid, I would build upon that. Coming from where I'm coming from in Enugu, I remember doing this program every day. I try to wake up every day. Can you hear me? Okay, so I try to wake up every morning. That's the first thing I do. I try to meet up with the task because we had weekly tasks daily for, there were 9 prototype games we needed to develop. So every morning I try to do that before I even get to my book. So I could remember my mom coming to the room and she's always asking me, what are you doing with cartoons? What are you doing with cartoons? You should be reading your books and all of that. But I knew what this meant to me. I love to play games a lot, and I'm always fascinated by the technique behind games. So I really put my all into it. When the strike was called off, it was a bit difficult for me to merge it with school, but with proper time management, I was able to meet up, and here I am graduating today. So thank you very much. Thank you to Mr. Hugo. Thank you to everyone who helped me. Thank you to my mentors. My cousin is also here to support me, so thank you very much. Yeah.
Thank you, cousin, for being around, and to all the friends that have supported him. I think I'm quite inspired by your focus on solving problems. You already are looking at existing issues, even in the medical industry, where you can apply some of the skills you have learned. So we'll move up here. Please introduce yourself and just tell us what the experience has been briefly and what you intend to do next.
All right. Good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you so much for this opportunity. I do not take it for granted. My name is Ayominton Michael Ajayi. I'm from Ibadan. Bro, basically, I was born in Ekiti State, Nigeria, so currently I'm in Ibadan. Contributing my quota to the community has been my goal, my drive so far. So when I saw Malio GameUp opportunity in online, I saw the opportunity as an avenue to actually contribute my quota to the community. So I'm into sustainable development goals, which is SDG 4 and SDG 5. SDG 4, which is quality education, and SDG 5, which is gender equality. So I'll be looking for a way to create a gender balance between male and female. So I came up with an idea, whereby we can create a game which involve both male and female, whereby we're going to be having a male character and also a female character to create a gender balance, whereby we're going to be incorporating culture in this game as well. And the culture is going to be one of the Africa heroes or heroines that would be the main character, and they would also have these Yoruba attires or any of the tribe we're going to be make use of. So Malio gave me the platform to actually gather some resources I would need on this journey, because I'm a fan of I'm a fan of online games. I play online games a lot, Call of Duty. So I love to create something like that, something unique, something creative like that. So Malio has, let me say, equipped me in a way and giving me the platform to know more of these, and I was able to learn about some things, some tools, I mean softwares you can use to create characters. And also I got to know about Unity terrain, whereby you can create a background, different kind of beautiful environment in your games. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ajayi. Mr. Ajayi did make mention of culture. It's interesting to note that Malio Games does focus on the African, I would say, flavor in game development. It's not a restriction, of course, but it does help the students to also have a good grasp and focus when you're looking at your target audience, to be able to capture things that they do understand, that is pretty much within their own sphere and easier for them to digest. So, of course, you can see that showing in Mr. Ajayi, who also has that in his psyche as he thinks of things he's going to do in order to have a good approach to his target audience. So we take one more person before we move forward. Could you please stand up, sir? Good afternoon. Quick introduction, and let us know what it is you have planned going forward.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Mbaramuku Chidebube. I'm a student of FUTU, studying electrical electronics engineering, and beyond that, I'm also an aspiring software engineer and obviously a game engineer. And one important thing I took away from the bootcamp was that game development is one of the very interesting aspects of software engineering that incorporates art and the technical know-how of programming in a very beautiful way, and it's something that I'm so passionate about. I love having that synergy of working on the artistic aspect of software as well as the technical part. And yeah, the program was very, very informative. I couldn't be happier to be a part of the program. Recently, I started working on, based on my experience with the game development track, I had this prototype I was working on, which was a racing game. And I wanted to, when I started it out, I just wanted to use it to test my knowledge and know-how of how games work. Then, due to my affiliation with Microsoft Student Ambassadors and the aspect of AI, because I'm also into AI, so towards the end of the bootcamp, I thought of this idea. I had this idea of incorporating AI into game development in a way that makes AI learn better, because in AI, like, there's always this bridge between simulations and the real world. So there are in most simulation softwares, it's hard to actually find like simulations that mirror reality as much as game environments do. And one good thing about that is that, well, like with the game engines, you have the physics engines and the whole back end of code that power things like forces and mechanics and the movement of particles. So combining that with things like autonomous driving and and path planning, I was able to level up my game development pet project from just being a racing game to now being a test bed for autonomous navigation systems for cars. And this time around, like with the same mission that Malio helped us imbibe, the idea of making it African, putting Africa out there. So I had to like take away the Western influence of some of the aspects of my game to incorporate African environment in order to help the AI know what it's like when you're training something like an autonomous navigation module that incorporates computer vision. What you see with the Western world is not always the same like with here in Africa. So in terms of like analyzing roads and being able to navigate very different situations here in Africa, I was able to incorporate that, and it's really going quite well. I would love to see more support for game developers in Nigeria. I think we would benefit from similar programs to the GameUp bootcamp. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. And you heard it from the man: more support, more infrastructure, and that's exactly what Malio Games is working towards. As you can see with the collaboration with the CEO and founder of Supercell, who was here earlier, he did say something that I hope you all kept in mind, which is to continually improve yourselves. Do your best today, do better tomorrow. So we're going to go back to the panelists to have a last word from them and just get a few final words before we move on to the awards section of today's session. Panelists, Mr. Dennis, back to you, sir.
Parting shots, just one last statement from our panelists. I can see Dorothy, Michael, Chris Jr. So, Dorothy, if you can hear me, just one last statement or one last word from you as we pretty much close off just the bootcamp in general. Dorothy. Phil, looks like Dorothy cannot hear me. Chris, as I can see you very clearly, if you can hear me, just from someone who has been part of last year's bootcamp, one last statement to probably the graduates who are completing their program.
All right. So I think the little thing I can say to them is basically it's just about like putting in maximum effort, right? If you were to ask me, I mean, that was when I graduated. If let's say I was sitting in that auditorium with you guys and you were to ask me, I mean, where do I see myself in a year's time? Or I mean, like the questions that some of you have been asked, like I think I would have I would have got it wrong because I mean the amount of people I've got to meet, the projects I've got to work on, it was beyond my expectation, right? And it's basically not what I expected, right? And I was kind of like, I mean, very excited because it seems after every project, something exciting happening next, something nice, something like even more exciting after that, right? And all I could say is that the GameUp Africa Bootcamp has given you guys the foundations you need, right, in order to take the next step, right? But in order to take that next step, it all depends on you, right? The CEO of Supercell said, it's going to be a whole lot of challenges, right? And if you don't have, which I'm sure you've experienced a lot throughout the phase one and even into the phase two, right? And you're even going to face even more, right? And even more challenging ones than you've already faced. But that self-determination is key. And without it, you just end up, let's say, getting overwhelmed because the pressure is there, right? And you start with people, but you realize not everybody can get to the end of the line, right? And so the little I can say is that don't let those, let's say, those errors. You can build something, it fails, it doesn't come out how you expected, right? And don't limit yourself. It's basically about you finish one project. If it's a success, what can I do next? How can I get better? And it's all about doing. That's how you can develop yourself. It's not about sitting and learning. You've gone through the learning phase for about 6 months thereabout, right? Now you just need to put those skills to test. You have those skills. You just have to believe that you have those skills. So just put them to test and test your limits. That's basically the little message I have for
Thank
everyone.
you so
And
very
big
much.
congratulations to all them.
Thank you very much. It's very, very good to hear from all of you. It's been awesome talking to you today. It's also been awesome listening to the audience and also taking questions from outside from our live viewing audience as well. However, we have now come to that time where we'll honor those who have shown exceptional participation class in their own groups. It's not just a time to recognize academic excellence, but also to recognize dedication, commitment, and your passion for the art you have come to learn. So we have a few categories here, which we'll be going through for the awards section of today's graduating ceremony for GameUp Africa 2022. The first category we'll be going over is the overall best participant female category. One moment, please, as I consult with the oracle. So in this category, you can see on the screen all our nominees. We have Dorothy Orina. A round of applause, please. Thank you very much. Lucretia Maswabela. Immaculate Oluwaseyi Ogunride. Joanna Oluwoj. And for this category of overall best participant, female, the winner is Dorothy Orina. A big round of applause, like an actual big round of applause. It's not been easy. As you heard from some of our participants here who are also part of the grad ones, there are a lot of obstacles to get beyond. It's an intensive session that they went through, yet these people are able to excel. And we move on to the next category, which is the overall best participant male. By the way, these categories, broken into male and female, basically highlights the top participants in each of the gender categories who have been consistent in learning, providing peer support, actively attending events, and who made significant progress in the program itself. So for the male side of the overall best participants, we have, for the nominees, Mr. Anthony Mwangi, Chanwe Asang, David Sibato, David Ohiami, and Mr. Michael Mfon. And the winner for this category is Mr. Michael Tomiloba Mfon. A big, big round of applause, please. These first two people have shown exceptional performance, not just academically, but also in their character, in participation, in assisting others as team members, team players, and leaders within their various groups. We go into the next, which is the best clan leads. So as you heard earlier, all the students were divided into clans during the course of the 5-month session. And each of those clans had a leader. So of course, we had to look at who did best out of the many best, because there is no bad among this group. So some of the participants, there are many of them, like they did so well that we have a lot of nominees, as you can see on the screen. Some of whom are Ajibade, Olufemi, Kathy, Dorothy, Michael, Chinwe, Peter, Ahmed, Alfred, Ngochuku, and so on. So our winner, Mr. Nonso Nwachuku from South Africa. Before I go on, I think it would be good to also mention that for our best participant female, she is from Kenya, and our best participant male is from Nigeria, and now our best clan lead coming in from South Africa. You can see the diversity even in the awards ceremony, as the participation was obviously very, very tight. Congratulations, Mr. Nonso. So next, we move on to best peer support category. For the best peer support. A key part of GameUp Africa is having a strong peer support community. This means learners providing assistance to other learners as they develop through the program. So here we are identifying and honoring some of the people that played this particular role that tied directly to one of the core values of GameUp Africa very, very well indeed. The participants have been able to show exceptional performance in this particular area. So our nominees are shown on screen. Mr. Chinwe Asang, Walter Mayo, Obioma Tobechuku, Taiwo Oduoga, Immaculate Choko. And our winner from Nigeria is Mr. Obioma Tobechuku Joel. We congratulate you, Mr. Joel, for your exceptional performance in being able to support your peers even as you studied. And the next category, most active event attendees. Most active event attendees. The most active event attendees basically cuts across all events organized throughout the 5-month boot camp. This category was open for everyone to join, or rather, to be picked from. This category was open for public nomination as well, so the voting was way more intensive than the other categories that was a whole lot more curated. Now, here are your nominees. Mr. Oh, I should stop saying that. Do not know. So we have Joanna Oluoch, Welms Bolton, Nonso Nwachuku, Njihai Michael, and Chukwukem Favor. And our winner for the category of the most event attendees is Nonso Nwachukwu from South Africa. Nonso making his appearance once again, in case you didn't notice that we've seen that face before. Obviously showing himself very active, very passionate, and putting his all wherever he could. You are well recognized, sir, and we do show our gratitude for your active participation. A big round of applause once again for all our winners. It has not been easy going through this intensive course. Please remember, GameUp Africa doesn't just take on these students and then take them through some courses and send them on their way. There's a very, very well thought out structure towards the courses that they go through, from ideation to publishing. So by the time the students come in with next to no knowledge, of course, those with a little bit of programming knowledge tend to have an advantage when they start, but that advantage tends to diminish really quickly as they go on within the program because of how it is structured to be able to embrace people who have very little knowledge. So all these people you see here that are being honored amongst many are not necessarily, we're not necessarily saying that the other ones did not perform well. Everybody who graduated from this session did exceptionally well, but of course, amongst those who are really good, you will still have those who will excel beyond. And these are the people we honor here today. These people haven't gone through the structure, are people you can rely on to be able to take an idea and turn it into a published product. We will later on still have a look at some of the things that have been built, but before we go into that, we'll just be quiet for a few minutes. All right, thank you for your time. We are back with you now. We actually have one more category to present to you, which is the category of the best clan. We've already looked at the category of the best clan leads, where leadership was the main focus that we were looking at there. But for the best clan, teamwork is what we're looking at here, because it means in terms of their productivity, what they came up with, how they worked together, how they communicated with one another and outside their team. All these played an integral part in us being able to pick our winner. And you can see on the screen, out of the many clans that we had during the session, we have clans 3, 7, 8, 10, and 12 nominated out of about 16 clans total for best clan. The best clan for the class of 2022 is clan number 12. A bigger round of applause. This is not just for one person. This is for one people, because they had multiple people who worked as one person. So I hope my English was correct the way I used it. If not, forgive me. Congratulations to you, Clan 12, all members of Clan 12. You have done fantastically well. And we hope that everybody else takes a note from the way you worked together, the way you communicated, the way you solved problems, because at the end of the day, this is what you are doing, solving problems. If you make games that are fun, but don't address some kind of problem you are solving, it tends not to stick. So this is one of the integral parts of even some of the technical requirements, like in coding and all. So we know you're problem solvers, but this team seem to have been able to tackle their problems in the most creative way as identified by the management. Thank you very much to all participants. Thank you all to all the nominees. We thank you for your commitment, your dedication, your exceptional work in your various areas. We will be showing you a few clips of some of the games that have been produced. Remember, we did say that not only are these guys, or rather these graduates, now able to produce, they have produced. The system actually takes them through the entire process to the point where they are actually able to publish a title. So we have some working titles which we will showcase to you shortly. And just before we start that, we will take a 5-minute break. And then when we come back, we go straight into the slideshows to show you the games that have been made. We hope you enjoy it when you see it, because I believe the students were very excited and very happy to have made it for your pleasure. Thank you. We will be back in 5.
Let me introduce a new wave, we change the rules. A new app that you can use. Wanna change your life, then choose. Save money and invest. Pay bills when you decide. Safe and secure for you when you need a loan. Request it. One bank for you, one bank for me. So chill and enjoy the ride. Start the current account on it. One bank.
One Bank by Sterling. Open a current account and start transacting.
Thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed the game showcase. I think we still have a few more to show you, so it's still going to keep running. Keep an eye on the screen. I think I was about to go outside because when I saw Downfall Racer, I really wanted to see that Downfall with Nitro inside it. So I thought maybe if I could rush to CMS before I come back, you know, I could see one. It was quite captivating. I could see a whole lot of work being done with these games. So I hope you're enjoying it as I am. So the game showcase is going to continue. And we will come back to you right after that with our closing remarks from one of our guests from Google.
Let's go.
I'm glad you all enjoyed that, because I certainly did. It's been a wonderful day so far with you all, but I do not think I can express the gratitude for what has happened over the last 5 months, culminating to this day, as much as our next speaker will. So I'm going to call on to stage one of the organizers from one of the partners with GameUp Africa, Google, Mr. Sadiq Akinjobi, to join us on stage to deliver his closing remarks. A round of applause, please, for Mr. Kinjobi from Google. Thank you very much for being with us today, sir.
Okay. Hi, everyone. So firstly, I think that I want us to start by giving another round of applause for ourselves, because with programs like this, when people start a journey, it is very rare to see people that start a journey and then complete that journey. And I can imagine how intense it must have been over the past few months that you have been in this program, and now everybody is better off for it. I when I was growing up in Mushin, Lagos, Nigeria, right, in the evenings, we'd sit down and my grandmother would tell us stories of our culture, nighttime stories. And when I started interacting with the Android device, all the different games that I used to play, there was no way I could relate with them, because they didn't tell our cultures, they didn't tell our experiences, they didn't speak our languages. They were just games from the West. But with programs like this, we'll start seeing the narrative, the African narrative from different, I know that there were participants from multiple countries on the continent. We'll start seeing those narratives being told in the type of stories, the type of games, the type of images that we even see. I think somebody was mentioning something about the images in their games, how they were coming up with it and all of that. And really, I really want to really be grateful to all the different partners that made this happen, starting from Malio Games. Please, a round of applause for the amazing work in starting this and getting this to the finish line, and all the different amazing speakers that have spoken here today, the ambassador, starting from the ambassador to the founder of Supercell that also spoke here today, and all the different partners that have made this happen. Let's continue. I know that the founder of Supercell said earlier that there's a lot of work to do. This is just the starting point. There's still a lot of work to do to get to the next billion users and to continue to build games that the next billion users will use and will tell our stories better, will drive the narrative, and we begin those conversations that can take this continent to the world. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much, Mr. Sodiq. Once again, Mr. Sodiq is a community manager, one of the developers in Google, and one of the partners to GameUp Africa, and one of those who have been instrumental in ensuring that this is a success with the contribution of their organization and all the other partners that have come together. So please keep in mind, as we bring this particular aspect of the graduation ceremony to a close, once we step outside, there's going to be refreshment. We can share some words with one another, get to know one another much better, beyond just the graduates who know each other and their family, of course. You may want to share contacts with other members of family, get to know each other, rub minds together, work as a team as you continue to do what you do. So thank you all for being around. I will just call on Mr. Hugo Obi onto stage once more.
No, hi. Thank you very much, and it's great to see all of you, to see the games that you guys have made, to follow your stories. Quite a real. It's always rewarding when you start a journey like this. You don't know what to expect. We actually started off with just over 1,000 people, and we ended up with 100. Obviously, there's a high drop-off rate, but we expect this. Something we term as natural selection. So you guys have persevered, you've endured, and you are here. But what next? What next is we need to get your games published. So we're not done yet. because obviously we're doing the graduation today because we wanted to kind of like do the wrap-up event a little bit early, because obviously next week is a little bit closer to Christmas. But however, once we're done with today's event, we're going to go back to work on Monday, as we always do, and get those games on the App Store. So that it's not just you and your friends and a few of us that get to play it, but you actually get that game distributed. That's one of the things I love about gaming. You have access to a global industry. This is something that I remind people all the time. It's over $100 billion a year in revenue generated through games on mobile alone. When you include all the other platforms, consoles, PCs, over 200 billion. And every single one of us has the same access as Supercell. Not quite the same skills, but the same access, because they build their games and they publish it on the same app stores that the rest of us do. But you know, for us, it's not so much about where you are, but it's where you're going. And I think that that is important. And I think that that is also reflective of every single person in society. It's really not about where we are as a society, as a country, as a community, as a family. It's about where we're going. And where we're going is not defined by an end destination. It's actually defined, in my view, in incremental steps, so that every day we are one step closer, we are one step ahead. The moment you wake up and you're exactly where you are yesterday, that means you're not growing. In our industry, we thrive on growth, right? Skills, talent, like users, revenue, is all about incremental growth. So think about that when you think about your journey and the next steps that you're going to take, is how do I continue? Now, what we've provided is a platform. We provided a platform, we provided a community, so it's not just you. You are no longer alone. There are hundreds of you across Africa with similar goals. So inspire one another, connect with one another. Look at what they're doing as inspiration. I also love the fact that Ilka mentioned that this industry is an industry where competition isn't a thing. I was fortunate last week to be at Africa Games Week, where I got to connect with industry leaders from across the continent, like all the different countries, Ghana, Cameroon, Ivory Coast, Kenya, South Africa, Zimbabwe, Tunisia, all over the continent. And one thing that I took away from that event was that we're not there to compete. We're there to collaborate and to co-create. So I want to say a big thank you to all of you for coming. I want to say a big thank you to our guests. I want to say a big thank you to our hosts. They're not present in the room right now, but it's always gracious to have somebody host the event and provide us with a comfortable space, give us refreshments. It's great, so we should give a round of applause to the French Embassy for putting that together for us. I also want to say a huge thank you to our partners in this program, our partners who helped us put together this program. Kocheza, Bukolites, it's been great working with you and your team. We were together at Paris Games Week earlier, a couple of months ago actually, and that was when we decided to work on this together. I also want to say a huge thank you to Dr. Sid and Contender in the background. Dr. Sid, do you want to stand up and just give a wave? If you guys look back, you guys can see him. He's the guy who's making all these things in the screen navigate around. So great work. Again, for me, this is a demonstration of where the industry can go, where actors can partner to put together an event such as this, and I'm hoping that we can make this into a bigger event in 2023. I want to say a huge thank you to my team, most of whom aren't here, but they, again, have been in the background supporting you guys. The great thing about what we do and our mindset is that we don't just think about Nigeria, we think about Africa. And that is representative in the team that has been working on this program. It's representative of the people who are in the program, and it's also representative of the partners that we've brought on in the program. I want to say a big thank you to our mentors. Our mentors are a key component of the success of this program. And they came from, like some of the biggest studios in the world. They came from so many countries across the world. And for us, it's all about knowledge sharing. And they're willing to take the knowledge that they have and pass it on to you. And I hope that you can take it and just run with it. I really hope you can do that. And finally, a big thank you to our partner on this program, Google. They stepped in and actually made us step up. So when we thought about this program, this was back in late 2019, and we were meant to kick it off in 2020. It was very traditional. We were meant to do it in Lagos. It was meant to be people coming to the office. And that was how we executed on it. Obviously, the pandemic hit, and that changed the format from physical to virtual. But when Google stepped in 2021, the first thing they asked us was, can we do it in 3 countries? And we said yes. Then we did it in Ghana, Kenya, and Nigeria. And the plan for this year actually was to do it in 4 countries. So we meant to add Cameroon to it. But when we put out the application, we received an overwhelming number of applicants from across the continent. Countries that weren't even eligible, we received over 200 applications from such countries, multitudes of those. And we just had to open it up because we believe that, like, this type of knowledge should be democratized. There's no reason why this knowledge should sit in any particular country. And my hope is that in 2023, we're able to open it up to any country, Francophone, Anglophone, like whatever it is, wherever you are in the continent, you can participate. Because we are all one in the end. We love games and we want to make games. And our culture, our environment, even our education achievements shouldn't be able to cause a limit to that. So we continue to grow the program, continue to think about how we can improve it. Your feedback is obviously very valuable in terms of being able to assess how well we've done this year, and hopefully leverage some of that feedback or that input to be able to improve the program for next participants. For you guys, your journey is just be optimistic, be enthusiastic, right? And just keep pushing. And I wish you all the best of luck.
Another big round of applause, please. Mr. Hugo Obi, founder, GameUp Africa. So, thanks once again to all the sponsors, participants, facilitators of this event, Contender, Sterling, Intel, Game Makers Assembly, French Embassy, Google, and of course, Malio Games. Thank you all for your time, for your presence, your enjoyment. We thank you for your applause, for your attention, and we call on you to join us for some refreshments right outside the door here, where we hope you will also mingle and, like he said, interact with one another. For building does require collaboration. Thank you very much. And once again, a big congratulations to all the graduates. Can we have the biggest round of applause for these graduates of the GameUp Africa 2022 session? Started in August, and now they're here. The heroes of today. Thank you all for your time today, and have a wonderful day.